Welcome back, guys. Today I want to talk to you about pullers and what I've got in the shop here to kind of give you guys an idea of what's out there, what I use. Sorry, I keep saying but yeah, kind of what I use and what I've got. Let's start over here. Not really what you're going to think of as puller, but it is a puller. This is a type of seal puller. This little hooked end goes in. Use this as your fulcrum. Pull it out. Real simple item. Another one, this is a little one. This is for pulling top post battery terminals if they're stuck, and also some sorts of windshield wipers. Cheap tools, like under 10 bucks each. This is what they call a bolt grip puller set or harmonic balancer puller kit. I use this mostly for pulling flywheels and steering wheels. Once in a while, harmonic balancer. But you put the pressure screw in here. Run your bolts in through here, all these depending on what you're pulling. If it's only 2, you use them 2. If it's 3, use these 3. Then you have different lengths and styles of bolts. Some things you don't want to use a pointed end. There's a flat end here. There's 2 different sizes of points. Let's see. Standard coarse, standard fine, metric, most common sizes. You can buy them for like 10, 15, 20 bucks, or you can go with the big kits like I got here from Snap-on. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I bought it secondhand. It was nearly new when I bought it. I want to say like $125, but I don't really remember. It's been a long time. Something else I bought used was this puller. I've replaced the pressure screw once. And I think that's it. The rest of it I think was the same, because I ended up screwing that up somehow. Or no, I replaced this too under warranty. A buddy of mine had screwed up the threads, so you can get various jaws for them. That's what I use commonly to pull pulleys. These are some longer jaws. They make longer ones yet, and some really stubby ones. So this is like medium and long, and they make stubby. They make wider ones. There's wider bridges here. There's wider, I can't remember what the heck these are called, that hold the pieces together, but they make wider ones for that. It depends on what you're doing, but I use that most commonly around the shop, or these 2 pullers. Next most common thing I will use is a hub puller when I'm doing wheel bearings. This can either attach to the slide hammer, or depending on what you're doing, you can run a pressure screw in it as well. Very handy. I want to say the kit I bought this in, this was like 15 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that. The next common thing I use is for pulling axles on CV joints or CV axles. Is this? It hooks to the pressure screw, the screw of your slide hammer, and you just slide hammer it off with the transmission. Now this is not a common one that I use. This is one I had bought at an auction or flea market. It's a very large, very heavy duty slide hammer. It's got this bearing puller on, which I think is missing something, because to my knowledge, as you screw these down, these are supposed to spread out like that and lock into the bearing that you're pulling. See how they're tapered? They're supposed to pull out and hold the bearing. So, but that's just what it came with. It also came with this attachment, which is used for pulling something small, because this only expands like that much. I don't know, but it goes on there. It's an old puller. I'm not sure exactly what it was for, but I have it. I bought a bearing splitter kit, which is these 2 pieces, these 2 bolts, and these 4 nuts. These 2 bolts go in here and back there, clamp it behind your bearing. Then you put these in. This is just some big rods I happen to have, and you put your puller on here, goes down there, and you press it off of the shaft. Or most commonly what I also see done is you don't even use these, is you just use your 2 screws here, and you clamp it in there tight, and you put it in a press, and you press it off. Now I have couple rods here, them 2 rods, and there's some other ones and some other kit I got. I bought this in conjunction to use for pulleys. I still need to get a couple things to make it work for my setup here, as I don't have a yoke puller that's quite large enough to do it. But it would take something like this, very large, to do it. This slide hammer I've used often. I use it on pulling wheel bearings a lot. Smaller slide hammer that I haven't used, I just have. This one's good for pulling seals. Set this out here once. Triangle handle, light hammer, and a screw. Screw it into the seal, and boom, 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 it'll come out. This is a hub puller for generally rear hubs. It can be used on front hubs. Possibly. I've never actually tried it, I guess. At least I don't remember trying it. If I can get this kind of set itself up a little bit. Okay, so basically you get the idea. You have 3 points on your flange or your hub in your rear. Tighten it up, press it off. You just put these on the studs of where your wheel goes. Put a wheel nut on the other side, tightens up into that recess, and you just press it off. Simple as that. Get these off here. I actually bought this and this other slide hammer over here together at an auction, I believe. I just can't remember where all it comes from sometimes. There's some extra long rods for this bearing splitter. Now if we turn around, this box came from a truck shop. It's various pullers. Actually, these yoke pullers are not usually sitting in here, but these are a homemade puller, as far as I can tell. I can't believe this came from a shop, or from a manufacturer by the looks of it. They're very well made. Made to do the job. So, then this, now I don't remember exactly what these are for. I want to say these are for hitting in races in conjunction with that. But they also make that in for puller too. They make different attachments for that. Now here's the wider yoke puller that I was talking about. That would work similarly for those studs. It just would have to be much, much larger. But you can see essentially what it would do. Something like that. Now these, I'm not completely sure what they use these for. This one I really don't know because there's no end on it, so I don't know what it was for. It's an OTC part. It's very large. These ones I believe, because I know this will screw onto one of my, it'll actually screw onto this one here. You'd put it on there like that, you know, minus the other attachment. And I believe that end threaded into an injector somehow, but I'm not 100% sure as I have never used them. I've only heard talk about them. They're OTC parts as well. But you could conceivably come up with just about anything. You could thread this on the end of this slide hammer, put whatever end you want on there for what you're doing, and you have a puller. And there's 2 or 3 of them in here. Here's our yoke puller. It's a little bit bigger than my other one. These are some more of those bars. These are shorter ones with the attachment for pulling. This would actually be on the top of the puller like that. So you'd put it in up top here, and then your other part down there. There's 2 of them in this case. There's a bunch of pressure screws, another yoke, OTC made, another bar. There's a ton of that stuff in here. I don't really use any of this. I had bought it because I just bought out a tool room of stuff. This was just leftovers, you know, extra nuts from pressure screws. Here's a gigantic freaking pressure screw, which, no, that's too small for that too. But various different stuff. And here's another extra long arm that can go into one of these style. So there's all sorts of options out there for pulling stuff. Basically bought this stuff as just another option for things. This is a very small yoke puller. You just kind of create what it is that you need for what job you're doing. See, here's another. Now that, if I remember correctly, is a bearing cup kind of puller. I can't remember for sure. I don't do that stuff enough to remember it. I know what's been done. I've seen it done. So, yeah. I know there's the other half of that in there somewhere. Oh, yeah, that's right here. Oh, no, that's a bigger one. So, yeah. There's just all sorts of stuff. Yeah, here's the other one. But this stuff was used heavy. It was used in a truck shop. Here is you'll see me use this in a couple of videos, I believe. It's my Hub Shark and my Harbor Freight. If I can get it apart. Bearing wheel bearing puller kit. I use them in conjunction. A lot of times it'll pull the hub. A lot of times this is just well, what this is for is the actual bearing. So that's kind of the pullers I got. Stuff I use most commonly. Stuff I have laying around for the inevitable time that it comes in handy. Problem with pullers is you can never have enough of them. You'll never have the right one until you get to the job, and then you'll buy the right one for that job, and you don't know if you'll ever use it again, or if you're using a ton, well, obviously well worth the money. But I'll be honest with you, it's these rods, those rods, all that stuff there, plus more that I had bought at that time. I don't think I got $100 in that whole pile. I'm sure I don't actually, because there was other stuff that came with that, and I don't even remember what all anymore. There was a ton. I ended up with that's underneath there, but I ended up with a cylinder hone. I ended up with some lathe stuff, bolts and nuts, and all sorts of crap. Trying to think of anything else that's puller related, really, but I think that's pretty much the extent of my pullers. There may be a couple more things. No, not that door. There may be a couple other pieces in here, but it's nothing extravagant to get excited about. You basically make up what you need to do the job, or buy what you need to do the job, depending on the situation you're in. If you guys want to see some videos of this stuff, I'll try and make some. I just don't really run across a whole lot of use for them in my small engine work, but sometimes in the cars. Like I said, you guys have seen me probably, I don't know if I ever use this in any of my videos. I did use it on a Ford what the hell is that? Aspire. Ford Aspire. That one was in there good. I had to use that to do that job. Yeah, some of that stuff is tough, and you gotta work with it. You gotta make it happen. So hope you guys enjoy the video, and let me know what you think. I'll cover something else in more detail if I can think of it, or if you guys have questions, I'll do my best to get some answers. So I'll talk to you later.